Europe's biggest bank, HSBC, has voted to reject a resolution to split off its Asia business.
The results came as investors cast their votes at the bank's annual meeting. The proposal was supported by the biggest shareholder, praised by the biggest shareholder, Chinese insurer Ping An, but it failed to secure a majority of votes. Ping An argued that HSBC's performance has been strong in Asia, but weak elsewhere, dragging down the overall value. Let's get some more expertise on this with Francis Coppola, who's an independent banking analyst. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. This is, of course, a good result for the chair, Mark Tucker, and CEO Noel Quinn, with the majority of shareholders against this move to split up HSBC. Was this expected, though?
Yes, I think it was. I mean, the advisories were all saying that this actually wouldn't be a good move for the bank. I mean, it is a big universal bank, and the moment you start breaking it up, yes, you might deliver value for Asian shareholders. But in a way, the bank's strength comes from its global presence, its long-term strength. So it would raise questions about the future of the rest of it, really.
Ping An has said that HSBC's global business model is not fit for purpose anymore, and these retail investors in Hong Kong were very upset about dividends not being paid out during the pandemic. Now, Mark Tucker says that this result draws a line under this debate. Is he right about that, do you think?
I'm not sure he is. I'm not sure this one's going to go away because there are lots of geopolitical tensions here. This is to some extent possibly, the heavy hand of Beijing starting to exercise some authority over what it potentially regards as one of its own assets, which is the Asian business of HSBC. And also, on the other side of the world, the UK government previously exercising its authority over HSBC over the payment of dividends during the pandemic. So we have a little bit of a tussle here between two big powers and two regulators. So I don't think this is going to go away. I think we're going to have further tensions in the future.
HSBC performed very well in the first quarter. Was that mostly due to high interest rates?
Yes, like many banks, it has benefited from rising interest rates, being able to increase its rates to borrowers while continuing to keep rates to depositors relatively low. So we've seen its net interest margin increase, and that means more interest income from it. And many shareholders will have welcomed that. But a widening net interest margin does spell better profits in the future and potentially a stronger earnings.
Francis, climate protesters made their presence felt at this annual meeting in Birmingham, accusing the bank of greenwashing. How is the bank's reputation looking these days after that and other controversies that it's faced?
I think all the big banks have come in for some controversy over climate change. Barclays did as well, as you might recall. I think that it's quite easy to criticise big banks for all sorts of things, and it is a fact they have been involved in all sorts of fossil fuel initiatives and things like that. And the climate change protesters may have a point, and it may be that the bank will have to do something to improve its stance on climate change and environmental issues.
So what's your outlook for HSBC in light of this decision?
Well, putting the geopolitical tensions aside, which I do think are a threat to it, it does straddle this kind of uneasy divide between China and the West. And so whenever there's any kind of tensions arising, it almost inevitably gets caught in the middle of it. So leaving that aside, which is, I think, possibly the biggest threat to it, I think the outlook actually looks quite good in Asia, less good in the West, because, we are facing a slowdown in the West potentially as central banks battle to get inflation under control, and it's questionable for how much longer the bank will be able to get away with paying less to depositors and increasing its profits that way.
Francis Coppola, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.